It is my great privilege to welcome the United States Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, a devoted friend and a true ally to our country, interviewed by Zvika Klein.
Busy, but great.
I missed your concert across the street last week.
You missed an incredible moment. People were running for the exits when I started playing.
Were you born to be wild?
I was. I think I was born to be mild.
Okay.
But we kept the words the way they were. It was an incredible event. We had a great celebration of America and Israel and its partnership, and we had a full Israeli experience. Just as the Marines were to present the colors at the beginning of the ceremony, the sirens went
Let's just
off.
explain. There was that 4th of July event.
It was a 4th of July event to celebrate America's 249th birthday, but we had to kind of push it forward because at the time, thank goodness, Mr. Levy's company was helping protect us from those incoming ballistic missiles. And by the way, congratulations, well-deserved award. And thank you for the extraordinary work that IAI does because it honestly saved thousands of lives during the 12-day war. And we all owe you a debt of gratitude for that.
Wait, so that's an interesting point. Are they going to be selling, more equipment and defense tech to the United States?
That's a question for the president, and it probably will be what kind of special deal the president will get from Mr. Levy to make sure that works. And so it will be negotiated at a level.
There's talks about the dome.
Well, President Trump wants to do the Golden Dome.
Yeah.
Of course, it would be the Golden Dome.
Has to be.
Wouldn't be anything else if it was him.
Obviously.
But it'll be an interesting point of negotiation, but I will assure you that the terms of that negotiation will go well above my pay grade, for sure.
Okay. So those that follow you on social media, and you got a big following, both in your personal account and the official embassy account. You have more than the embassy, but we're not going to compare there. So you're having a good time.
I am.
It's like you're just like you were born for this moment. You're all over the place. Like where were you yesterday? You were at the City of David,
which was an amazing event, and I want to say congratulations to all the archaeologists and the people of the City of David. If people don't understand the significance of it, it's one of the greatest historical developments in all of human history. And it not only is the history of 4,000 years of Jewish connection to the land, but it's also the revelation of the details of that history going all the way back to Abraham 4,000 years ago, to King David 3,000 years ago, to the destruction of the Second Temple 2,000 years ago, covered up for 2,000 years. And last night, Secretary Rubio, Prime Minister Netanyahu, and I took hammers and broke through. We were some of the first people in 2,000 years, think about this, to go from the pilgrimage road to the Temple Mount, because now that has been completed.
It's amazing. I saw the pictures.
It's absolutely stunning.
These coins I saw that they discovered from the Bar Kokhba, I think, period. You want to hear something crazy? This morning, my son's twin boys asked me where I was going, and so I was going to a conference. They said, you guys do conferences in Israel? I was like, yeah. They said, this guy Huckabee, was he a Maccabee? And I was saying, well, it's funny because he actually went to, City of David. So you mentioned the City of David, and welcome to the Speaker of the Knesset, Amir Ohana. Thank you for joining us. One of the members of the band, right? You wanna tell everybody everyone here was there, but a few of us weren't.
The speaker was scheduled to play with us, but because of the situation that had happened the day before, with the killing of civilians on the bus stop, felt it was better to focus on the families, which we totally understood and agreed with. So we're going to have an encore performance at some point, and that's when we've played together But we were scheduled to do it that night, but it will be a command performance, and I'm sure it will be epic when we're both together. Don't you think, Amir? I think so.
I think so, yeah.
I think so.
And then we'll see if Amir was born to be wild, just like you.
Oh, he definitely is.
Yeah. Oh, wait, be careful there. Okay, so you mentioned the city of David.
Yes.
When will the United States recognize that as Israel?
I kind of think we did last night.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what else we could do. You have the Secretary of State, the U.S. Ambassador joining with the Prime Minister. We dedicate it as an American heritage site, not just as an Israeli site. So I don't know what else we could do to be more clear that we believe that Jerusalem is the undisputed and undivided capital of the Jewish state and the historic site of the state of Israel.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I just want to make sure I got it. So basically, Eastern Jerusalem is now acknowledged by the United States as sovereignty, Israeli sovereignty.
I mean, I believe that goes back to the first President Trump term when he was here and designated Israel as the capital, moved the embassy here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more of a mystery to me why that wouldn't be understood than it would be that it's a revelation. It's not something that is new to the Trump administration or the United States.
Okay, so you mentioned that and that acknowledgement. There are a lot of talks nowadays about sovereignty in Judea and Samaria. I know you don't use the term West Bank.
No, and the reason is West Bank is not only a very modern term, but it's also a nebulous term because nobody can define how much of the bank is part of the West Bank. 1 mile, 10 miles, 100 miles, all the way to the sea. So it's very non-descriptive for one thing, and it's also a term that has its roots in modernity, which I think it's more accurate to call it Judea and Samaria, which is the term that goes back for more than 2,000, 3,000 years. And 80% of the Bible is about Judea and Samaria. So if you're going to look at the historical context of the land, it's hard not to call it Judea and Samaria because of what has happened there and what it represents, and also as a more descriptive term.
So let's say, the Trump administration, the first one and also the second one, keeps on saying Israel should do what Israel thinks it should do, or, make those decisions. Let's say if tomorrow the Israeli government says we are, going to have sovereignty on certain areas and all areas, depending on the decision of Judea and Samaria. Will the American government recognize that?
I've not been authorized to give a specific answer to that specific question. Our general approach, as you have known and you've just said, has been that we respect our ally. And really, it's more than an ally. Israel is a partner. Let me explain the difference. We have friends as the United States, and we do have allies. But I would say we only have one real partner. And by partner, I mean that there is a level of cooperation and cohesion between the United States and Israel that is unlike any other nation. And it is a genuine partnership in which we share levels of intelligence, military hardware and software, levels of cooperation and communication, the likes of which simply don't exist with any other country, even though we have very close allies in many parts of the world and love them, work together with them, and also with a lot of levels of intelligence. But the level with which we partner with Israel is quite unique. We respect Israel as a sovereign nation. We're not going to tell Israel what it can and can't do any more than we would expect Israel to tell us what we can and can't do. Sometimes they may disagree with the United States. That's their right. That's their privilege. They're a sovereign nation, and they have every basis upon which to say, we disagree with the United States. We're not offended by that. We don't go run to our corner, curl up in a fetal position, and start crying and bawling and saying, oh my gosh, Israel's upset with us, because we respect our partner. I've been married 51 years. Quite frankly, the reason I've been married 51 years is because I understand that I'm wrong all of the stinking time.
So that's the secret.
That's the secret. Just always say yes.
Couldn't you tell me that last week when I met you?
I think I did.
Okay.
But in all honesty, just to make it clear and to bring it home, partners disagree.
Okay.
Partners who love each other who have a relationship in a marriage, it is a marriage, and it stays together because you respect the differences and you respect the disagreements.
So the answer is not now.
What do you mean not now?
Not now. If Israel recognizes Judea and Samaria is part of Israel, annexation, sovereignty, whatever you want to call it, the United States will not yet recognize it.
No, I'm not going to say that because I don't know. I mean, they haven't taken their action, therefore we don't have a response to something that hasn't been done. I'm just saying we have a respect for Israel as a sovereign nation. We've not said to them, don't do X. We don't do that. If they do something we don't agree with, we'll let them know. If we do something they disagree with, they'll let us know. But it doesn't break up the relationship. And what I've said many times is this. The U.S. and Israel are not getting a divorce for one simple reason. Neither of us can afford to pay the alimony if we did. Simple as that.
It would be a lot of alimony there.
Yes, it would.
Okay, so there's a lot of talks about the Israeli attack in Qatar and Doha. A lot of contradicting reports. Did Netanyahu speak to the president before? Did he not? Was it an hour before, 5 minutes before?
I wasn't there. I don't know exactly what the time frame or the chronology was. I know that there was conversation, is my understanding, that it happened prior to, but I couldn't tell you how long. But again, that was a decision, and I heard the Prime Minister personally in a meeting we were in yesterday once again reiterate. It was a decision that Israel made on its own, uniquely, and did not make a decision based on anyone else's advice to do it or not to do it. It was solely the decision of the Israeli government to do that.
Could this attack actually, most, media countries around the world are saying that this is harming the negotiations, is harming the Abraham Accords. Do you think that this may actually have a counter effect and promote some sort of a more urgent peace plan?
Let's hope so. I'll tell you what destroyed the negotiations for the hostages was the European nations going and having this push for a unilateral recognition of a Palestinian state. I can tell you that was very detrimental, and it destroyed negotiations. I can't say we were close to some type of resolution because Hamas has never been close to a resolution, and people have to understand, whatever they pretend that they're for, they're not at the moment at which they have to make the agreement. The same people who did the barbaric, savage things on October the 7th are the same people you're expected to sit down and have a conversation and a negotiation with. Look at what they did on October the 7th. Good gosh, remember what they did. These are not normal people. These are not people that you deal with like you're buying a car or you're working out some trade agreement. These are horrible, savage people who did the most unspeakable things to other human beings, civilians. And so they don't negotiate for hostages based on a moral code that we're used to dealing with, Israel is used to dealing with. That's not what we're dealing with. And so we all want the hostages home. And we want them home today. President Trump has said so many times, so clearly, so consistently, all the hostages come out at once, and Hamas must disappear, go away, disarm, can't stay. That's as clear as he can be.
So there's so many countries that are planning to vote on an acknowledgement of a Palestinian one-sided decision of a Palestinian state in the United Nations very soon. What will the American response to that be?
Well, it's already been strong. We've said we not only disagree with it, we strongly urge nations to not go there. For one, it violates Oslo. That's the first reason. It shouldn't happen. Secondly, it has had the opposite effect. So if the nations believe that having this recognition, it's a stunt, is what it is at the United Nations. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to create a Palestinian state. So this aspiration that if all these countries come together and declare one, that makes it one, it doesn't. But here's what I can tell you, 3 things that immediately happened when this took place. We have been working, and I've been shuttling back and forth between Ramallah and Jerusalem, trying to work to some resolve of the financial impasse between the Palestinian Authority and Israel on 3 issues of correspondent banking, the excess shekel issue, and the remittance money that is supposed to flow to the PA. But it hasn't because the PA has not fully changed pay for slay and the textbook situation. But we were working on it, and things were warming up a bit, de-escalating a bit. The first thing that happened with all of this talk that President Macron began to put forth, and then the Brits and the Canadians and the Dutch and others, that went off the table. Absolutely stone cold, gone. Second thing, Hamas suspended all negotiations. They said, that's it. We're going to get a Palestinian state. It's what we wanted all along. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get it, and we're going to be given this, and it'll be delivered to us by the people who say that they want to do something good. This is great. The third thing that happened was, I believe it incentivized Israel to begin talking about sovereignty, because it really wasn't front and center until this started. And I think I can't speak for the people of Israel. I can't speak for the government of Israel. I work for the U.S., not Israel. But I tell you what the effect was. Immediately you started seeing not only an incredibly strong, maybe unanimous vote in the Knesset, but you started seeing calls across the political spectrum for the declaration of sovereignty. So if the Europeans wanted a Palestinian state, if that was their intention, not only did they hurt the current Palestinian Authority government by freezing any hope that they were going to get money in that remittance deal, but they also incentivized Israel for sovereignty and or perhaps annexation. And the third thing, they destroyed hostage negotiations.
So, Mike, in the audience we have ambassadors from many Western countries and European countries.
Sure.
What do you want to tell them?
You're my friends. You're the friends of the United States. We love you. But please, for heaven's sakes, realize that what is being done at the United Nations is having the polar opposite effect of what I believe your intentions were. Not saying your intentions weren't noble and good, but the impact of those intentions, the impact of those decisions at the UN will be incredibly detrimental. And the United States position, as articulated by Secretary Rubio when he was here the last 2 days, has been essentially clear. Please, stop, back off. Let's find a new route.
Is a two-state solution still on the table?
For who?
For the United States.
I'm not
For
here.
you, I know.
Well, no, but I mean, I represent the United States. If the United States had a policy and said we were, then it's my job to represent the president of the country. But nobody's talking about it. And here's what we ask when we're asked, what about a two-state solution? Show me the borders. Where's it going to be? Give me a map and tell me where it is. Secondly, tell me who leads it, who runs it, who's going to be the head of it, and who's going to defend it, who's going to protect it, who's going to also make sure that it doesn't pay terrorists for murdering Jews, and who's going to make sure that you don't teach 6-year-olds that to kill a Jew is a noble, wonderful thing that you ought to aspire to. So if you can answer some basic questions, when I hear people say, let's have a two-state solution, okay, answer a few fundamental questions about where it is, who's running it, how it's going to operate, how do you deal with all of these complex issues, everything from finance to transportation within, then you have something to talk about. But right now it's nothing more than just a wish, a hope, an aspiration that is not grounded in reality of the moment.
So our time is already up, but just one more issue. Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated, killed last week. I'm sure you had a relationship with him. The Friends of Zion Museum actually launched, you could have read it in today's Jerusalem Post, an award, you could see it above us, an award in his memory to people like you who support Israel around the world, and there'll be nominations. So those of you who want to nominate, happily. And you want to say anything about Charlie?
I do. I've known Charlie since he was 19 years old.
Wow.
One of the most brilliant young men I've ever met. I met him when he first started Turning Point, and he's an incredible mind. Charlie didn't go to college. Somebody said the other day something I wish I'd thought it up to say. Charlie didn't need college. College needed Charlie.
Wow.
The universities of America needed someone like Charlie who spoke truth, but he did it calmly, rationally. He debated anyone, anywhere. He was the essence of free speech. He was the essence of civility. And for him to be martyred has awakened a giant in the country. When I left my television show, I had a daily show and I had a weekly show. The weekly show was with a live audience in Nashville. I had a daily show that I did from my studio. And when I left to come here, I turned that daily show over to Charlie. He actually was the person to whom I handed it off.
Oh, wow.
And so just before I came to Israel to live, I was with Charlie in his headquarters in Phoenix. We did sort of the handoff program. I've had him as a guest on my show many times. I love the guy. He was just absolutely one of the most amazing human beings, a force of nature, the likes of which we may never see again. And whatever intent there was to kill him, it only made him more alive in the hearts and in the souls of millions of people, I think not only in America but across the world, who want to now say, you will not silence the voices of people who are principled, who have biblical values, and it would be appropriate to remind everyone here, Charlie loved Israel. He truly did. A friend of Israel. He's been here many times. He was here when the embassy was relocated in 2018. I saw him there. He had a deep, deep abiding love for Israel and a deep appreciation for the Jewish people. In fact, Charlie recently wrote a book on keeping the Shabbat. He's not Jewish, but like me, he's envious, jealous, if you will, of the incredible tradition of the Shabbat, because I think many of us who are Christians realize that it is one of the most magnificent traditions of the Jewish faith.
It keeps us sane and keeps
it
us,
does, but
yeah.
It keeps your families united and together.
Together.
And when I'm blessed to go to a Shabbat dinner, and I went to Sam's home a few months ago.
Oh, now I know why he didn't tell me that you came for Shabbat.
He didn't want you to know because
it's a long walk, but I could have walked.
Yeah,
Sam.
it would have been a long walk. But when I'm at a Shabbat dinner, I'm blessed because I see the intimacy of a family, and you watch these kids grow up knowing that on this day they're going to be home with their families. They're going to have conversations and discussions, and they're not all going to be on separate personal communication devices or traveling somewhere. And it just makes me long that would be the tradition for everyone in the world.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you for supporting Israel, even before being an ambassador. I think you know Israel better than most people in this room. So thank you for what you do. And next time we're going to jam.